Now I know what you're thinking. It does look a little different, doesn't it? I know, it's just great that it's in 16:9 now, but I'll address that in a moment. Hey there, guys! My name is Nix. I fucked up my own intro. Good start. Hey there, guys! My name is Nix, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 1, Hinamizawa. I think that's its full title. So, if it's not, feel free to yell at me. Anyway, last time, I think we moved in after having what I assume is a flash forward of me murdering someone. I think that's what the wet chopping sounded like anyway. And he was talking about her, so it doesn't end well for one of these girls. I might know which one, but hey ho. Anyway, this time I'll be upfront with two things. One, I'm re-recording this episode. I recorded it once and then realized I didn't have any sound. And that is kind of important because of the second point. I have, after being suggested by one of my commenters, whose name I just need to grab from my YouTube comments. Yeah, okay, so thanks to John Goodman, who left a comment telling me about 7th mod. Which, for those of you at home that don't know and or can't see, 7th mod is basically like a... I was about to call it an upgrade, and then I realized that's a bit harsh. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not a reimagining. I wouldn't call it an upgrade. Well, I mean, it kind of is an upgrade, but, you know what? I had a word when I first recorded this, and now I've lost it again, so that's just my bad, but yeah. Basically, they put it so the aspect ratio is now in 16:9 instead of being a square. They've put some updated sprites in. There's voice acting, different background music, some other like scenes that I don't think were in the original, and I think they've reworded some of the stuff so it's not as awkwardly written in some places. I think they made some minor changes, I believe, but yeah. Other than that, I will admit I only lost the one episode because I only record these in one at a time, so I can take in feedback, like stuff about the 7th mod. Thank you for that. Anyway, let's get on with it, shall we? No matter what the day had held, the last school bell always came too soon. Our shadows stretched off into the distance. Hey, Kichi-kun! Tomorrow, do you have plans or anything? Yeah, just FYI, I'm using what I think are what they call the console ones, I think? Yeah, these are the console ones, and the remake ones are the ones that I had in the first episode. I'm gonna stick with the console ones, I think. I just like them a little more. They fit in with everything else, because obviously they redid the background art and everything, and they just work a bit better. Opinion me. Please feel free to yell at me if you disagree. Huh? It was such a direct question from Rainer, I inadvertently blushed. If it was for a date, then wouldn't you do it more subtly? Rainer saw me at a loss for words and realized that I misunderstood and turned red as well.
Huh?
No, I didn't mean it like that. You see... So apparently that wasn't what she meant. But since it's always fun when Rainer's in a panic, I went along with it a little. Oh, really? So it wasn't meant that way. Playing it up, I slumped to my shoulders, feigning dejection.
Kichi-kun, why are you so disappointed? Why? Mi-chan!
Unable to hold it in any longer, Mion slapped me on the back. Hassie! This old geezer never knew you could push her buttons like that. Yeah, the laugh works on its own.
Huh?
What is it? Mion was rolling on the floor, clutching her stomach while Raina flailed around, completely bewildered. I couldn't help but start laughing as well. Feeling just a bit guilty, I ruffled Reina's hair. Kidding. Sorry, it was a joke. That was my fault. She really is a cute one.
Huh?
A joke? Since when? Since when? Huh? About halfway through. Halfway? So, Kei-chan, that means you weren't acting when you blushed at the start. Huh? That means... It was only a momentary lapse, but there was no way Mion would let such a delectable detail slip by her. Well, you see... Saying anything more was also a bad idea. In my bewildered state, I slipped further and into an unfavorable position. After that, Mion continued to tease me about it for a while. So, why were you asking if I'm free tomorrow, Reina? Huh? Oh, what were we talking about? It had been so long that Reina had forgotten. That's how long Mion had teased me. It's just, Kei-chan, you probably can't find your way around Hinamizawa by yourself yet, can you? That was true. I hate to say it, but if you blindfolded me and spun me around 3 times like we were playing pin the tail on the donkey, I wouldn't be able to tell up from down here. Gravity works the same wherever you live. Yeah, I don't think I know how to get anywhere besides back and forth from school. Yeah. So, you see, tomorrow we were thinking that Mi-chan and I could escort you through Hinamizawa and show you around. Well, you're kind of precious, aren't you, Reina? That would be a godsend. Frankly, I was happy about the offer. You'll come, of course, right? If I'm free. You're being invited by a girl, you know. If I'm free. You're probably free anyways. If I'm free. I was being stubborn so as to not give a clear yes or no. Even though I thought it was a godsend, I'm too much of a scamp to say so up front. Keiichi-kun, you're not free perhaps? Perhaps? While Mion and I had our rather sour back and forth, Reina peeked over at me hesitantly. Figured I being a bit too rough on her, I just gave in. Sorry, forgive me. I apologize. I'm free. Great! The trepidation disappeared from Reina's face as it blossomed into a smile. Hey now! Seems like there's quite a difference between how cold you are to me compared to Reina, isn't there? It seemed Mion didn't care for how rude I was to her, compared for how quickly I agreed with Reina. But her being annoyed was very interesting. So I pushed Reina forward, speeding up our pace and leaving Mion behind. Let's go, Reina. Maybe it should be the 2 of us tomorrow, leaving grumpy Mion behind. Whoa, Keiichi-kun is okay with that then. I'm the one who came up with the idea to take him around. Don't ignore me, Keiichi Maibara. It'd be great if the 2 of us could go on a picnic together. Should we bring a basket? It's late, okay? Should we bring a basket, Reina? If we're bringing a basket, I'll make the food, maybe. Don't you ignore me too, Reina. I'll put out a village-wide circular saying that you 2 disappeared into the hotel district together. Well then, I'm going home right now to start making it. Tomorrow's going to be so fun. Later, Keiichi-kun, Mi-chan. Bye. It concerns me how willing Reina is just to punch someone. Just saying it now. Reina bounded off like she was walking on the moon. After the dust settled, all that was left was me standing next to Mion sprawled out on the ground. There was a welt on her face. Are you alright? There was over 2 meters between you guys. You fucking wave dashed in and just decked her in the face. Jesus Christ.
Since you came, they become sharper. This old geese's body can't handle it.
Maybe it'd be easier if you stopped saying stuff that makes Reina want to hit you. Or else this would end up being Mion's slapstick comedy hour. If that happens, the results might be fatal. Don't feel bad, Mion. You're probably the only one who can dodge your jabs.
It felt like it was her knee, though.
Could it be that we were hanging around with an unrivaled martial arts master? Maybe someday we'll see her debut in an extreme contact sport. You can't lose to Reina. You need to train up and have a rematch.
Kei-chan, you should... This old geese will root for you.
Mion and I reaffirmed our determination to discover a way to counter Reina's infallible technique. Will it work? Probably not. We're just out here trying not to die. Foreshadowing, possibly. Anyway, time for an ad break. That's a joke, I don't run ads on the channel. New tips acquired! So, as I said, having re-recorded this, I know that these... I'm just wondering. Okay, these are the same things. Also, don't know why we can't put this in a can't not put this in a square. It's by the by, though. So yeah, tips from the first time I recorded these, I discovered are basically optional scenes that give you additional lore. As you can see, these questions are the most pressing questions we have right now. But yeah, I don't know if y'all want me to read these or not. I'm gonna read the first 2 during this episode, and then for any future tips down the line, leave me a comment as to whether you want me to read them all out, or whether there's specific ones I should read, or whether I should just read them on my own time. Anyway. So, Reina, we're the same age?
Yes, that's right. We're the same zodiac animal, too.
Hey now, it'd be weird if we were the same age but not the same zodiac animal.
That's not true. If your birthday isn't the same, then you can have different animals even if you're the same age.
Huh? Oh, I see. Mion, you're pretty smart.
How much were you born, by the way, Kei-kun?
Okay. I think I've just invented my own nickname for him. I called him Kei-kun.
I'm July.
Reina smirked and puffed up with pride. Hey now, what's the meaning of this? She's not planning to be all high and mighty if her birthday's a wee bit sooner than mine, is she? Don't even. It's impossible to challenge me by birthday. I wouldn't even mind if you bet $1 per month.
Why?
Reina panicked at suddenly being challenged to a wager. Given how panicked she is, I'm certain she doesn't have much of her allowance left this month. It's just... sending her into a panic about something as simple as a birthday is so fun, I can't help myself.
So that means you were born in April, Kei-chan.
Right on. Too bad, Reina. I'm already far older than Reina. Like 3 months? At least? I don't know.
Oh, I see. And you're the same age as me-chan. Well, it's just a few months. The gap will open up soon enough.
Mion snickered through her nose. Hey now, that's not something to get all high and mighty about. As if I'm one to talk. Now that you mention it, you're in a higher grade, right, Mion?
If you're into underclassmen, then I can be an underclassman from now on.
Mi-chan,
You're not making any sense to me.
Just by seeing Reina's blushing face, you could tell she knew exactly what she meant by it, though. Then Sakoto and Rika-chan are underclassmen. Their grade is so different that they should be in a different school, shouldn't they?
Keiichi-kun, your tastes are a bit too young, I think.
You're not making any sense yourself, Reina. I'll just grab onto her head and scuff it up a bit.
Stop it!
I've wondered about it before, yeah. I was wondering why the school has different school years all mixed up.
There aren't enough classrooms. Can't help it. This building's being rented from the forestry services after all.
When she says it like that, it makes sense. I thought our school was strange for a while now. The schoolyard is gravel, and there are rooms that aren't for classes. And there's some strange sort of construction machinery parked here. Why is it being borrowed? What happened to the real school?
There was one here from forever before the war. It got dilapidated. They closed it down.
It was probably a grand old schoolhouse.
Well, because of that, the students wouldn't have to attend school in the city. That's pretty far, you know. Which school would that be? Did you know the school if you pass by the Okinomiya train station, turn at the hospital, and head towards the pediatrics department? What? So far!
I couldn't tell where that was by the location, but I understood it was pretty far from Reina's reaction.
Well, that's why. The guys that didn't want to commute to Okinomiya rented out this building from the forestry services and are attending this pseudo-schoolhouse here. About half the children in Hinamizawa go here. There's quite a lot of kids that come here on bike. Well, since they're attending this really messed up school, it might be pretty hard for them to get into a higher education. That's not true, Mi-chan. If you study properly, you can go anywhere you want.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. I totally agree with Reina on this one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Let's try our best. All of you try your best. This old man will be rooting for you.
Not just us, you too. You should be preparing for exams, shouldn't you? Your future is bleak with grades like this.
Fine, just fine. If I get stuck, I'll just mooch off Kei-chan as he works forever. What do you mean, mooch off Kei-chan? What do you mean? Hey, you're being too loud. Be quiet during self-study.
The teacher yelled at all three of us. It was completely our fault. Sakoto saw it and chortled haughtily. I stuck out my tongue at her in response. It's just as Mion says. This school has nothing to do with higher education. But it makes up for that by having lots of valuable things other schools don't. Like what? Don't know, but we'll tell you later on, possibly. Also, I just didn't comment on it when I recorded this the last time. The music for this these tips menu is surprisingly ominous. I mean, that's just like the whole game. If I'm a bit real, but anyway, why don't we have a uniform? Probably because this isn't a real schoolhouse, but you know what I mean. It's only June, but it's already so hot. I could hear the Higurashi outside cheeping, doing the Mimi thing that you can hear in the background. And at night there are mosquitoes. Might as well be summer already. Is June not summer? I always thought June was a summer month, but shows what I know. My only salvation was that the mornings were still cool.
Summer, I do declare.
Sakoto was flapping her skirt languidly. That's pretty unladylike there. Even if she was a little brat, she was still a girl.
Keiichi does seem quite cool with just a single button-up shirt. I'm so jealous.
From how I see things, the skirt you're wearing looks like it would be much cooler. A girl like you just wouldn't understand. Wearing jeans during this season is... and how steamy the crotch gets. You know, this is the second time I've read this. Not counting the amount of times it took me to read it the first time because I didn't understand that sentence. Now I understand it, and I just think Keiichi's a bit wrong in the head. Hey ho.
It gets steamy.
This girl's gone imagining something indecent. Reina, go to horny jail. Reina's summer clothes have a nice refreshing colour. I feel cooler just looking at them.
Thank you. You really do feel pretty cool. I do wish my summer clothes were as breezy as Reina's. But Sakoto-chan, your summer clothes are so cute being a one-piece and all. I'd like to wear your summer clothes.
I think it's a bit small for you, Reina, but never mind.
This one is actually quite stuffy, you know. I do believe what you're wearing would feel much cooler. It will be so much more fun with cute clothes.
Oh. Reina makes some, interesting noises. We'll go with that one, shall we? I had a feeling that Reina and Sakoto's base values were fundamentally different. Speaking of which, our school doesn't have a uniform.
Yeah, it doesn't. As long as they're proper, then regular clothes are just fine.
There were quite a few students in regular clothes. There were a few wearing uniforms, but they were all the same design and rather plain. What's the uniform they're all wearing? They're all the same.
That's the city school uniform. It's not like there's a rule, but they're all wearing them.
It's just a thing, but sometimes when Sakoto talks with this expression, she always looks like she's talking while gritting her teeth. That can't be healthy, girl. Lighten up. Speaking of which, everybody in our group is wearing a different uniform, aren't we? Did you go out of your way to get them from somewhere?
Why, yes! Mion-san supplied them. Mi-chan's relative runs a second-hand clothing store. You can get school clothes from all over the city for cheap, they say.
So you asked those relatives to get a bunch of unique school uniforms, then? That Mion, she probably loves using her friends as dress-up dolls. That must be a strange second-hand clothing store. I get that it's a second-hand clothing store, but stockpiling clothes from schools all over the country? That's a pretty strange second-hand clothing store. What's the point in stocking clothes from faraway schools they know nothing about?
Yeah, I think so too. They also have used school swimsuits and PE uniforms. I don't like the idea of having used ones.
Doesn't sound like that shop makes much money. They probably have Mion pitch in and help so they can make a bit more.
But Mion-san says it'll be a big hit and become a great store.
Let me read that again because, fucked up my inflections.
But Mion-san But Mion-san says it'll be a big hit and become a great store with such conviction.
A second-hand clothing store that stocks uniforms will be a big hit? I don't get it. Maybe it will for all the perverts out there. What do I know? Well, that's kind of how the tips work. As I say, if you want me to read them, please let me know in the comments. Other than that, if there are important ones you want me to read, I'll read them. And other than that, I make it sound like I'm ending the video. We're carrying on, boys. We're only at half an hour. If. I took it a little too easy on the morning of my day off. I was totally late. And to top it off, that pesky mom of mine pushing a return journey errand on me just as I'm trying to leave the house. Today was the day Reina and Mion were going to show me around Hinamizawa. Reina and Mion were already waiting at the meeting place.
Kei-chan, you're late!
Sorry. The show I was watching last night was really interesting. Blame that.
Uh-oh. So that's your excuse for being late and keeping two girls waiting? Mi-chan, you just got here yourself.
Also, this is the Reina's outfit I'm more familiar with. People will understand why.
Last night's episodes of A Day in the Life of was interesting, wasn't it?
She was just as guilty as me. Was I think A Day in the Life was a real show, but I don't think I've ever watched it. I think it came out in the 80s. Yeah, it turns out it's a real TV show. I've just Googled it, just for my own morbid curiosity. Once I finished Googling it and had to get past everything that telling me it was a Beatles song. She was just as guilty as me. Reina was carrying a pretty heavy-looking handbag. What was that? Mion answered my unspoken question with a wink. That's right. Reina really did make a picnic.
Kei-chan, after you left, Reina pulled out all the stops.
It's not like I forced her to do it.
It was nothing. So don't worry about it, okay? He's been like this since last night, you know. Can you take responsibility for this?
Alright. I am a man after all. I'll take responsibility.
Responsibility? For what? For what?
As we both turned around slowly to look at Reina, our gaze drifted downwards to the massive handbag she was carrying. It didn't seem logically feasible that it would be entirely filled with lunchboxes. Except this was Reina we were talking about here.
About 2 kilos, I guess? When Reina was packing up, I could see she was struggling a bit. I say 5. You're exaggerating. Keiichi-kun is a boy after all. I thought he could probably eat a lot, so I made a lot. Okay? Let's get going. Oh!
Just from the way she was lifting it up, I couldn't believe the only things in there were lunchboxes. Correction. I say 5 kilos too.
I'll help out, but all of this needs to be eaten. I won't forgive you if you make Reina sad, got it?
The only thing I could do at that moment was exercise a bit to make myself hungrier. Having finished with the pleasantries, we began our leisurely stroll. A carefree walk, bathed in the gentle morning sunlight. I couldn't have even imagined something so wholesome existed during my time in the city. These were the boonies after all. Excuse me, I need to cough. I don't know why I excused myself. I'm cutting that out. Y'all don't want to hear that. It's nasty. Before anyone asks, I'm fine. It's just a winter thing. No slovenly desk jockeys trudging to work on the weekends over here. It really was a nice place. Peaceful and quiet. As sparsely populated as the village was, you could still run into people just by walking around.
Ah, good day.
こんにちは。
Good day.
あら、そちら。
Oh, would you be my Barakun, I believe?
前原くんだったかしら。
Yeah, I worked out how to say that surname. I had to sit and listen to the people pronouncing it. My two companions exchanged greetings with everybody we ran across. All these passers-by even knew my name. When did I become this famous? We passed 3 people and, well, all 3 of them knew me. I started to feel a bit paranoid.
It's a bit sad to say. Everyone knows everyone since there are so few people here in Hinamizawa.
So that means when an unfamiliar face walks by, they automatically assume that it's the Maibara fella who just moved here.
Yeah, that's how it works out.
It was a process of elimination you could only pull off in a place like this, but it was quite effective. From now on, I better make sure to maintain a good reputation. The day I'm discovered accidentally gawking over a dirty magazine in the bookstore, I can expect all the villagers labeling me as a lech by the next day. Hinamizawa is not to be trifled with. And that's not the end of this nightmare.
Of course I know them. The first person we met was Armand Takazawa from the Makino bike shop. His hobbies are bonsai and playing the flute. Next we have met the grocer's son. Second son even, Daisuke-kun. His hobbies is sharpshooting and he hopes to be an ace sniper in the future.
That's a valid career path here? Huh. Japan's an interesting place.
And the person we just met was Mio-san, the nurse from the clinic. Her hobbies are birdwatching and photography.
You know the names of everyone we passed by. And even their profiles? Seeing my surprise, Mion and Rainer exchanged looks and burst into laughter.
Well, yeah. But I'd like the city where people hardly know their neighbors.
Then let's try it out. You there, who am I?
You're Kichi Maibara. You say some mean things, but you're actually a kind and shy person. It's been 3 weeks since you transferred here. Your hobby is taking afternoon naps. Lately you switched over to wearing boxes. Didn't you?
I feel threatened. That's enough, that's enough!
Boxes.
Enough of that! Apparently there is absolutely nothing you can hide here. Hinamizawa is not a place to be trifled with. This feels more like you guys are showing me off rather than showing me around.
That's right. We're parading around like this after all. And give everyone a chance to see for themselves. Kei-chan is fitting in right here in Hinamizawa. The population of Hinamizawa is shrinking. So the villagers welcome anybody who's new here.
I thought about brushing it off with something to the effect of, "You're kidding me," but I held back. Had I ever greeted someone who just moved to the city like this before? Thinking about that made me believe what they were saying wasn't a joke after all. We passed by another person. Of course, we were called out again in the same way.
Oh my, good day. It's wonderful seeing you getting along. This lady here is Fujishima-san. Good day. Oh my Barakun. How wonderful for you having a lovely girl on each arm. How are you? Getting used to the life here?
Instead of regurgitating a prepared response like I would have in the city, I responded with an emphatic nod. The old woman chuckled, voicing her appreciation of how energetic I was.
Good.
As I looked back over to Reina and Mion, they gave me a wink.
So, now then. About time to have lunch, maybe? Maybe?
Reina's brilliant smile signaled the approach of an event that both Mion and I were trying to forget. We both looked at each other. I'm a man. I'll do what I can. But it's just too much.
It's fine, Kei-chan. Leave it to this old man.
Mion has never seemed as reliable as she does right now. I'd expect no less from the class representative.
Reina, if we're going to eat, we might as well go somewhere with a good view. Yeah! Good idea. I agree.
Reina nodded her head happily in response to Mion's proposal. We're going to these stairs! Cresting the top of a stone stairway, a shrine drawn straight out of my imagination appeared before us. It had worn down a bit through the years, but the fallen leaves had been swept up, giving it a tidy feeling.
This here is Furude Shrine. It's probably the place with the best view around. This place. Be sure to remember it. On our next break, a festival will be held here.
Isn't it a bit too early in the season for a festival?
Watanagashi isn't a summer festival. Long ago, it used to be a celebration at the end of winter.
I was embarrassed for assuming that festivals had to be held in the summer.
Now then, spread out the lunchboxes. And there.
Various coloured lunchboxes were placed one after the other on top of the plastic sheet. Sure did smell delicious. It was Reina's home cooking. It went without saying that it would be delicious. It's such a good question, I'm forgetting how to words. But is it even possible to finish all this? Hey, Mion. It'll take more than just a good view to get all this down, you know.
Good afternoon.
It was the lolis. The lolis have arrived. The likable one and the not likable one. It was Rika-chan and Sakoto. Why are they here? Valid question. Mion grinned over at me. I see. This was her secret plan. The power of numbers! You have my thanks, Mion. Following up when all the pieces are in place is my specialty.
We just had to come since there was such a commotion. What is the meaning of all this?
Take a look. It's time for lunch. Buffet style. Handmade gourmet meal by Reina.
I can see that much. Why have you laid out a top on our property?
Temple's public grounds. It's not yours.
Keiichi is right. This is everyone's property.
Wow. Rika-chan's such a good girl. Have a seat. Eat with us. After opening up a spot for Rika-chan, I promptly turned my back on Sakoto.
Hold on 1 second. Where is my spot?
No spot for you and nothing for you to eat.
Don't worry, there's some for you too.
None! I'll eat all of hers!
I will not allow that! Rika! Here, chopsticks.
Both Sakoto and I leapt to the boxes, having it out with each other.
Man, really? Kei-chan, you're really good at leading people on. You might have a talent for this. Have a plate. One for me-chan and one for Rika-chan, too.
Reina whipped out pairs of chopsticks and paper plates.
If we don't hurry, it will all be eaten up. That's right. Okay. Shall we commence this battle? Please eat a lot. There's enough for everyone.
Reina said as she opened up a thermos. Please, for the love of God, don't be soup. Don't be soup. We have enough food. Don't be soup. Just then, I realized that this lunch was made under the assumption that 5 people would be eating. Didn't change how much there was, but the implication behind it was different.
I will not allow you to have this hamburger!
I think she just murdered me for food. At least that's what I think is going on here. I'm not entirely sure. I think she pushed me out of the way for food. Also, why do I look tiny? I don't feel comfortable being drawn this small. Using your elbows against the rules, Sakoto!
Grabbing by the back of the collar is also against the rules!
It was a tough battle, blocking with full momentum an elbow in the opening moves. Sakoto appeared to have the upper hand, but the difference in our proficiency with chopsticks proved to be fatal and gave me the upper hand.
The last meatball!
Sakoto Hyujo has been bested! Hum! Sakoto and I amiably began choking at the same time, falling backwards and spasming. Rika-chan patted me on the head to clear it, even though it was actually stuck in my throat. Rika's trying her best, damn it. Seeing that made Reina blush and breathe heavily in excitement. It was almost like flowers were floating all around her. Mion advised Reina to refrain from saying anything that could get her locked up. This is how our meals usually go. I'd do anything in my power, just so things could stay like this. The intense battle had calmed, and finally everyone reached a point where they could begin talking. Receiving tea from the thermos, I let out a small sigh. One thought that I'd finished eating, and the second to see that it isn't soup. I do wonder why there are so few words in Japanese to praise how something tastes.
Isn't it because the idea of togetherness during a meal didn't begin until the modern era? It seems that long ago people ate in silence. It must have made the people preparing the food a bit sad, don't you think? It's probably because there was probably because the people were so busy by eating back then that they didn't have time to compliment the flavor.
That's just you, kid.
But you know, just hearing that it's good makes me happy. And my effort was worth it, I mean.
She blushed a little as she said that.
It was delicious.
With absolutely perfect timing, Rika-chan struck Reina directly with praise. I've just discovered that my mouse wheel opens the thing. That's good to know. She looked straight at her with an expression of bewitching innocence. After Reina uttered an unintelligible noise, a ring of smoke rose from her head with an audible poof. I'm pretty sure all of these noises that Reina makes could be described as inaudible, but you know what, we'll roll with it.
Rika-chan! It really was delicious.
Reina flushed red with excitement, embracing Rika-chan and rubbing her cheek against her so hard you could almost hear it.
To reward Rika-chan for her praise! Ta-da! These are special!
2 apple rabbits. After sticking toothpicks into them, she thrust them towards Rika-chan. After Rika-chan accepted them, the mood suddenly shifted in a bizarre way. What is it, Sakoto? What's with that defiant look?
Has everyone prepared the proper praise to receive apples from Reina-san? Don't push yourself. What kind of praise do you think you can come up with your weak vocab? Well then, allow me to show you.
After Sakoto flashed Mia a defiant look, she changed the tone of her voice suddenly.
Hey! So, Reina-chan's lunch? Sakoto thought it was yummy too.
Sakoto looked up at her poutily while talking cutesy. What? How was that praise? That's not even persuasion by tears. That's persuasion by cuteness, isn't it? This is Reina's limited special skill. She blushed and her head spun, waving around in circles. Don't fall for it, Reina! Of course that was asking for the impossible. Reina glumped Sakoto and began rubbing her cheek against her. My god, I've not heard the word glomp in what feels like forever. Cute! Sakoto is so cute! Take you home, huh? Swish, stab, push. Sakoto was also presented with apple rabbits. After stuffing them into her mouth, she looked over at Mion and me again with that defiant gaze. It took only 5 seconds to take down Reina. That's unfair. To think she had such a trick.
If it upsets you so much, why not reward Reina-san with some praise?
Damn it! That was a dirty trick. First of all, that wasn't even praise.
Sakoto! You think you've won with that, don't you? How about I show you guys something much better than your superficial gimmicks?
That sounds great, Mion. What kind of trick is it?
Kei-chan's gonna be the one who does it.
What?
Why don't I have you show me then? The writhing of an old maid.
The plan of attack she suggested was wicked. It was the only thing we had to beat Sakoto. I know it's pronounced Sakoto, but I'm gonna keep pronouncing it Sakoto. Don't judge me. After sipping my tea, I started talking very naturally and calmly. Perfectly. It really is good, isn't it? This is all freshly made, right?
No! Actually, most of it, almost all of it was frozen stuff.
Then which ones did you make fresh?
Well, it's embarrassing. Do we really have to say? Must I?
From the synergy of boy plus handmade lunchbox, her expression had melted into euphoria. I already know. This one, right? Reina turned an even deeper shade of red, the words, "I can't believe it," practically written on her face.
How can you tell? How? That I made it.
Of course, Mion had told me beforehand. It'd have been perfect so far. After acting like I was shy, I waited a beat. Next would be the finisher. It had your smell. Now, I have many problems with this sentence. I think that's fucking creepy beyond belief. But if this is meant to seduce Reina, yeah, I still think it's creepy beyond belief, and I can't believe she fell for this one. Silence enveloped the area. Everything turned negative for some reason. Reina, face completely red, froze solid. With a small yelp, Sakoto also blushed. Of course, I did too. I sure would like to try one of Reina's handmade apple rabbits, or something. Even if this was because I was competing against Sakoto, I felt like I'd crossed the line by a good 9 yards, I think. Then, at that moment, she exploded. It was a Tupperware container filled with rabbits.
Please eat some, Keiichi-kun! There's plenty for you!
What? Instantly, dozens of the apples were shoved into my mouth, knocking me over.
Okay. Say Keiichi-kun!
My head was forcibly laid upon her lap, and even more apples were shoved into my mouth. While she was squealing, one apple after the other was forced into my mouth. More and more apples. How about them apples, Sakoto? Looks like we win.
Kei-chan, that was a beautiful sacrifice! How's that, Sakoto? This is our complete victory, isn't it? I can't believe it! Such trickery! It doesn't bother me at all!
Sakoto ground her teeth, mortified. Girl, don't do that. You're gonna ruin your teeth. We did it. I claimed victory as my consciousness slowly drifted away from me. At that time, Reina had stopped squealing and she suddenly realized something.
Rika-chan, you're not eating it? Did the salt water make it too strong, maybe? Maybe?
Looking over, Rika-chan had pulled a toothpick out of the apple rabbit, placed it into her cupped hands, and seemed to be at a loss for what to do.
Oh, Mr. Rabbit. I feel so sorry for him. I want to save him.
That's the nosebleed kicking in. Don't worry, she's fine. No one died. Yet. That was the sound of blood spurting from Reina's nose.
Tonight, I will take you home.
Before anyone asks, no, even I don't know the limits to how high my voice can go. Will this ruin my throat? Almost definitely. Do it for the content. She shook sporadically, her head wobbling back and forth. Then, coming back to her senses, she took all the apples around me, gathered them up with a whip, 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 and fixed them back onto the plate.
No, they're all just fine, okay? Here, I'll get them to you, Rika-chan. Okay? Okay?
Rika-chan raised up Sakoto's hand like a referee after having the plate of rabbit shoved to her. She whispered,
"This is our victory." What? What? A comeback?
I just don't care anymore. Thus, my sacrifice ended up being in vain. I make a joke about a mid-roll again, but it's too late in the video for a mid-roll. But we're not ending the episode. I think we've got like a scene left. Oh, that's where I recorded up to originally. So I'm going to stop where I originally stopped. It was a fun-filled and crazy day. But as soon as the sun began to set, the end of the day really did come quickly.
Later, Rainer and Kei-chan. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for the day, Mion. I had a great time.
See you tomorrow.
Sakoto and Rika-chan went home as well. We parted ways with Mion, and it ended up with just Rainer and myself enjoying the evening air on our way home.
Thanks for coming today, Keiichi-kun. Was it fun?
Yeah, lots of fun. Almost feels like a waste to go home now.
Then, well, would you mind taking a little detour? Maybe?
A detour? Is it far?
It's a bit of a walk, but it won't take long.
Since we've been walking around all day, I must have seemed a bit tired. Not feeling like teasing Rainer, I quietly nodded. Traversing a small path and up a small hill, the land suddenly stretched out before us. There, what looked like the remains of a dilapidated construction site came into view. A large heap of garbage spread out off towards the swamp. Probably illegal dumping. I recalled it being in the newspaper.
It's been quite a while. I wonder what's here.
When you say it's been a while, you mean the business you had here was with the garbage pile?
It's not garbage. To me, it's a pile of treasure.
Rainer had already entered the well-known cute mode of hers. So that meant there was something cute here?
Oh, a new pile! I can't wait!
She descended the unstable slope with ease. I'd expect no less from a born and bred country girl. Hey, wait! I'm coming. Whoa! My city-raised self was completely pitiful.
It's alright. Just stay right there, Keiichi-kun. It won't take long.
Rainer kindly declined my accompaniment. Don't fall. And watch your step.
I'm fine. This is nothing at all.
Literally bounding among the heaps of trash, Rainer disappeared from sight. I didn't like being left behind, but I was still pretty tired from the whole day, so I just ended up waiting. Without the lively Rainer around, the surrounding air quickly fell into silence. The cry of the Higurashi gently cooled the air. Fairly exhausted, I began to feel a little sleepy. Just then, the shuddering noise of scattering pebbles alerted me to somebody's presence. Startled, I turned around. Standing there was your typical-looking photographer. He spied over at me through his camera. His body was tanned and fit. But something about him seemed unreliable, and he had a bit of an aloof air about him. Well, he didn't seem like he was a bad guy in any case. Whoa! You surprised me. Although startled when I turned around, he overplayed his reaction. That was my line. I'm the one who's surprised here. My bad. I didn't mean to startle you. You from Hinamizawa? I gathered that he wasn't from that question. Unfazed by my suspicious gaze, he introduced himself to me without prompting. I'm Tomitake, freelance photographer, I come to Hinamizawa from time to time. I didn't ask who you were. Quite rude to photograph someone without consent, one would think. My bad, my bad. I mainly photograph wild birds. They can't refuse, you see. So what? You saying I'm the same as the birds? No, well, you see, the image of a young man in the twilight was just picturesque. I apologize for trying to take your picture without asking. Adults are pretty slick. All that annoyance I felt for being startled just flew away as he butted me up. I had no intention of hanging around with this guy trying to get cozy with me. Except it didn't seem like Reina would be back soon. But this older guy, Tomataki-san, he didn't mind my cautious responses and continued rambling on by himself.
Keiichi-kun, sorry to keep you waiting. I'm finished now.
Reina popped her head out from one of the lower piles of garbage and waved her hand. You have someone with you? What would she be doing over there? That's what I wanted to know. Dunno. Maybe she's checking on that dismembered corpse that was out here long ago. Tomitaki-san looked shaken up by that for a moment. No. I responded like as if I were talking to Reina and the others. It was quite a disturbing incident. They still haven't found one of the arms.
Keiichi-kun, sorry to keep you. You were waiting a while, I guess.
I best leave you two lovebirds alone. Again, my apologies for startling you, Keiichi-kun. Tomitaki-san chortled suggestively, then disappeared into the twilight. Missing my chance to retort put me off a bit.
Keiichi-kun, are you angry? Why, I wonder?
It wasn't Reina's fault, so I decided just to brush it off for now. How was it? Find a treasure trove?
Oh yeah, so listen. You see, there was a colonel Randy doll.
A colonial Randy doll? Oh, that thing. The statues they always have out in front of the fried chicken place. That life-size dummy?
Yeah, Colonel Randy. Cute. I want to take it home.
You know, I think Reina's got a few more screws loose than I originally thought. I couldn't tell how she decides what was cute or not, but, well, she seemed to want it. It's garbage, right? No one would care if you just took it home, right?
It's become the base of another pile. I can't dig it out easily. There's no lamppost over there, so it'll get pretty dark soon.
Reina seemed quite down about finding a treasure and not being able to bring it back. I'll help you out. To repay you for that delicious picnic you prepared today.
Thank you!
Birds heading home to roost proclaimed that nightfall would soon be upon us.
Keiichi-kun's going to help! I can take Colonel Randy home!
Reina staggered along as if intoxicated in her dreamy state of mind. I tried asking her in a way that wouldn't take her out of her cheery state. Hey, Reina. Long ago, did something happen here?
Seems like they were building a dam here. I don't know the details, though.
Just wondering if you knew about, you know, an accident or something.
I don't know.
Her tone was disturbingly frank. It sounded more like a denial than an answer. I must have appeared rather dumbstruck. Reina quickly lightened her expression.
Actually, I didn't live here until a year ago.
Huh? You transferred here too? I was sure that...
So you see, I don't really know much before that. Sorry.
Don't really know, don't want to talk about it. That was the kind of feeling she gave me. Thinking about it, of course it would be like that. This wasn't the type of thing girls would enjoy talking about. It was quite a disturbing incident. They still haven't found one of the arms. If it's just like Tomitaki-san said, then I had a feeling only the Higurashi would know. It's starting to get creepy, boys. Starting to get creepy! Oh, I love it. I love it so much. This is the reason I wanted to play this game. Oh! Now we have, more tips that are probably good to know. Anyway, I'm going to leave this episode of Higurashi here, as it seems to be a pretty good stopping point. As I said, leave me some comments about whether you want me to read the tips or whether I should just read specific ones, as which ones they should be. Other than that, if you like the video in any capacity, please feel free to give the video a like down below. I've already said my due diligence about comments. And if you want to keep up to date with whenever I post anything, be that of any other videos, be that of this, stream VODs, or something else I tried to record over the weekend, and then it got lost because it also had no sound. I learned my lesson the hard way to do a brief test recording to make sure everything's working as intended. Yeah. I'm not bitter, I swear. But yeah, if you want to keep up to date with whenever I post anything, please feel free to consider subscribing to the channel. In theory, YouTube sends you alerts as if to do that, but I think these days, in order to get alerts, you need to press the bell icon as well. So really all pressing the subscribe button does is you made me feel good about myself, so thanks for that. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I've been Nix, and I'll see you all in the next one. Laters!